Okay guys, so here's the bow that we are going to put our grip on. And right across the thickest part of this grip, alright, as we come back around, you can kind of feel that ridge underneath there. I don't know if you can see it on camera where the overlap occurs. And that right there becomes our length around the circumference of this grip. And we can basically then transfer that right across to our leather. And that's the length we need. All right, so here's our piece. Just got them cut right out of there, the extra. And we're going to test for fit here. What we want to do is have it just small enough that it's going to meet here, and with a little bit of shrinkage is going to get tight, and then we can stretch it across our gap in the center and get a good clean stitch line that is going to be molded to the shape of our grip, all the way through from the fattest parts all the way down to the slimmest parts down in here. From there, I'm going to take this next piece of leather. We're going to cut it into just a straight strip. We're going to go about 1.5 inches for the thickness of this strip right here, because we want to. Ultimately, what we're going to do is we're going to glue these together just like this, and this is going to bend over and create that integral rest and strike plate. All right, so these are going to be the pieces that end up being our grip, and then the strike plate, you know, if that's what you want to call this, the strike plate strip or whatever, it's going to go on the bow here. Just lay down a layer. We want to get both pieces real nice and wet with contact cement. And if you're familiar with how it works, you know that you gotta let the cement dry for about 15 or 20 minutes. If you're lucky enough to live in a place like Colorado, stuff will dry in about 20 seconds. When you're going to put this together, you really got to resist the urge to just fold it over and put it on, right? It needs to line up inside edge to inside edge and flat to the, I don't know, oriented such that it's just right across the top here, right? And careful, because once you put it on, that's never coming back off. So here's how this grip is going to apply. All right, so here's how that's going to play out. Like this happens every time you get it. This shortens everything up. So you got to take a commensurate amount off of the front side here. A little better. So there's how that'll go. And then this will all pull up tight. I think that's a little better look. So we got an even gap going down, and we'll be able to close that up once we stitch everything together. Okay, so when it comes to keeping everything lined up while you're punching your lacing holes on a grip, and any grip really, guys, it doesn't matter if it's this style or if it's just a regular leather grip that's going to be accompanied by a separate strike plate. That part doesn't matter. When you're keeping, if you've kind of kept up with my channel, you know I have an affinity for blue tape as a second hand, and I have a lot of use then also for double stick tape, and the value that it brings to me keeping things lined up. Here we go. You get everything lined up just the way you want it here with the double stick tape in place. It'll hold everything all lined up for you, and you don't have to keep fidgeting with it, right? It's just all lined up. It's all ready to go, and all you got to do now is come through and punch in your holes. Everything's all set for you. Here's our most important, this is going to be the most important stitch hole that we put in this. Is going to be the one that gets all of our layers together on a single stitch. I'm going to get right in here, about 3/16 of an inch back from my raw edge, because that's about how wide a stitch I want. I'm going to put this guy in first. So you can see, oops, you can see that punch has gone straight through that center part. All right. Gonna be kind of tight on that. Not a whole lot of space on that top stitch, so I'm going to be a little tighter stitched up top here than we are going to be on the bottom. But here we go. There you go. Tape is gone. Everything's done. We're lined up. I'd rather throw away a little length of thread or sinew, whatever you're using, this artificial sinew, than get cut short. So I would say, like, of the length here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm like 8 times the length of my stitch line here. That's how I like to do it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get these threaded in the needles while I soak the leather in pretty hot water, like almost hot to the touch but not unbearable. And we'll drop that in the water for maybe 30 seconds to a minute, just enough for the water to penetrate the leather and give it that pliability quality that we need while we're stitching. All right, so here's my wetted down leather, and this is we're embarking on the most tedious part of this whole process. And these first few stitches, as can be real loose. I mean, really it should probably be pretty loose all the way through the process. The real key here is to set up a system for yourself where you know that you've got the same pattern running, right? So you've always got the same stitch looping over the same stitch, and not sometimes crossing this way and sometimes crossing that way. And as we start working along, you guys, we can kind of start manipulating this tight. But truthfully, we'll come back at the end of all the stitching and tighten it all down. You know, get all of our corners manipulated just right so that the stitching looks good, the leather looks good, and etc. So I'm going to go ahead and just stitch this on down the way. What I'm doing here is just pulling all these threads tight. And of course, prior to this, you want to get the grip manipulated so that it's, you know, running vertically down the center of the bow handle here. And here's kind of my secret weapon. This is just a gauze wrap right here. I'll use this to put down like rawhide on the back of a bow, you know, so that the air can still get through, because what we want to do is be able to dry this leather. If we were to lash it down with anything that's not going to let air pass, then the leather would not dry. And as you're putting this down, you can just kind of feel the, you don't want the leather folding on you in any way. You just want it pulling up tight. So we'll really pay a lot of attention down here at the bottom of the grip, where we know we need it to really come down and hug the bow. So it's all tight here. Okay. Patience is really your ally in this process. You don't want to rush the curing process, if that's what you want to call it. So this has been drying now for a few hours, and I have come out intermittently and heated it with the heat gun. At one point had everything undone again and tightened up the threading on here and done any last minute kind of alignment work. So here's what we are left with, and you can see that this is, as I get around the way there, it is down tight. And it's got a firm hold on the grip area itself. So this grip is not going anywhere. The only thing left to do is handle these two tag ends. I'll finish up the square knot on that one, and basically ready to shoot. Anyway, thanks for joining me for the quick video here, just on how I do this particular style of grip, and we'll be talking again soon. I'll catch up with you guys next week.